Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. I'm not gay. A core part of white culture is rape culture. Rape by deception, first and foremost, right? The vast majority of people who have sex in America are having sex in a way that reflects rape by deception. They've been fooled, right? The sheeple. We start with the word she, right? They're tricked into bed. That's why it's called a trick. Right? Being somebody's bitch. Is that something that you would do willingly? Or would you have to be tricked into being somebody's bitch? And where bitch is a play on words for bit C, right? They're not seeing straight. They're not thinking straight. They're blind. It's like, are you blind? Why are you dating him? Why are you playing into their hand? Right? That's why it's called consent. Con. And a confidence man, right? A con man. That's conniving and condescending. The con descending. Hypergamy, dating up toward the place where the con descends from. Corporate, the core pirate. The word pirate is a play on words for rape it. It's rape it scrambled. It's called an anagram, where a word with its letters rearranged makes one or more words. So let's talk about the Manila model here. What is the Manila model? I just kind of made it up earlier. Maybe someone else described it that way somewhere. I don't know, but I just kind of came up with it. Let's start with the word man. Right? It goes back to the Philippines. Here in the Bay Area, there's a lot of Filipino people, very nice people. There's a lot of attractive Filipina females. So the Manila model. Basically, there's a bunch of sex workers in Manila, in the Philippines, and all over the world, but the West loves the Philippines. They love certain places, right? Puerto Rico, Thailand, the Philippines. They sexually exploit them into next week. And what happens is sometimes they meet them in the village, they meet their family members, word gets around, they'll date some rich guy, right? Some rich white guy, rich Jew, rich token minority, some guy in the military or something, maybe he's based there, whatever. The word gets out, Freemasons, what have you. And they start making deals with corporate. And so they start having sex with these guys, right? I mean, I'll go ahead and say that I don't have any documented case to cite here, but we read between the lines, right? We look at the studies where females tend to sleep with their bosses. We put one and one together. So this is putting one and one together in a way that you would be shocked if I'm wrong about. Okay? And more important than whether it happens or how often it happens is that the people who social engineer know that you see it that way. Why do Filipinos and Filipino people make so much money on average here in America? Here in America. It has to do with who's fucking who and why. It's not what you know, it's who you blow. And so maybe they bring sex workers here, maybe somebody from a small village who's desperate, who's poor, maybe their family members. They get to know these people and they become regular customers. And one thing leads to another. When the smoke clears, there's arrangements here in America where they're sleeping with people and they're making lots of money, them and their family members. Kind of like politicians, right? If you pay the person directly, it's a bribe. But if you find a way to pay their family member or do this, that, or the other thing, then it's not considered a bribe. And so it is with sex work. And so you'll see a lot of attractive Filipina females driving Mercedes or whatever here and there in the Bay Area, Union City, Fremont, Milpitas, San Jose, whatever. Now, I'm not saying this to insult them, but to show you that there's several models you're presented with. You're presented with the Manila model, with the Indian model, Indian/Asian model. Okay, now again, I'm not saying all Filipinos do this. I'm sure they don't. I'm not saying all Asians make a lot of money. I'm sure many don't. I know that some don't. Some are poor, some are gang members, what have you. You're also presented with the drug cartel model and with the poor vagrant model. Four main models if you're a person of color here in California, where it's about 50% or so people of color. At least. So as you look at this and you say, okay, why are Indians able to make a lot of money? Well, because in India there's like 1.8 billion people or whatever it is, and some of the most ambitious and educated of them, some of the people who get the best grades, they come here, jobs get outsourced, what have you, people come here, what have you, and they form a sort of network, and they come here to the Bay Area especially. and they work for Google or whatever, and they make money, and they tread lightly, and they're friendly people, and so on and so forth. And so when you look at this as a person of color in America, or as someone coming from abroad, or a white person, we'll get to how the white people perceive things a bit differently here in a second here. You think, hey, either you could be a sex worker, in the gay area, the Bay Area, right? Male or female, and kind of network with these monsters who exploit people that way. Or you can have your labor somewhat exploited or very exploited and work very hard. Why, white and Jews take your credit, and LGBT people take credit from you. Okay, you're like their think tank, you're their workhorse, you're maybe a software engineer, what have you. Okay, and this is generally what's going on. I'm not saying all whites and Jews exploit the labor, but this is the system in general. And as you help them do it, you become like a senior figure, a mason or some kind of corporate head. As you throw your people under the bus, they give you some kind of fancy schmancy position. It's the colonial model, the neo-colonial model, the military-industrial complex model, the ruthless capitalist dog model, the communist oppressor model, really, as well. The fascist model, the oligarchical model, what have you. Then there's the cartel. You want to end up dead or in jail and kind of act like you're rebelling. You sell drugs with the cartel, or you try to get in where you fit in there. And so when people look at this, they say, well, why can't you be more like an Asian person? You're a person of color, they're a person of color. What's the big deal? If you take the smartest Asian people and you bring them here, and you compare them to the average guy who's been sabotaged and fumed and poisoned for generations in the ghetto, asbestos, Flint water crisis, you name it, okay? Of course it's not the same thing, you fucking idiots. Like, what don't people get, right? The Republicans are these monsters, these fascists. The Klan had red on their robe. Nazis had red. Communists have red. Republicans have red. It's the red team. They're devils. And where the left starts being red, right, they start canceling cultures. They start, doing their secret behind-the-scenes stuff, Start taking away your freedoms just like the Republicans historically did with the Klan. People who think like, we'll say conservatives, because at one point they were Democrats, but they were conservatives the whole time. Pretty straightforward. The red, because their soul is dead, as they say. Bred, be red. They're controlling reproduction. It's the red team. Not necessarily in terms of, Bloods and Norteños and whoever else wears red, but the red team in terms of those political factions. The devil wears red. The left wing is a mix between corporations who are just jerks and communists pushing people around. There aren't many people who support individual rights these days. They'll say things like that because that's what the party's technically supposed to represent, but they're not doing that. And the right wing's always been evil. They're never going to budge. They can't budge because they're in the boundaries of conservatism, which is conserving evil, conserving colonial evil. Straightforward. So you look at this and you say, okay, what do they want you to do? You got 4 options, pal. What are you going to do? Are you a genius? Are you smart? Book smart, that is? Are you a bookworm? Are you a book smart person? Then follow the Indians' footsteps, right? And try to make your community that way. That's what they're saying. They're saying, are you, somebody with hot chicks in your family? Maybe you're Puerto Rican, maybe you're from Thailand, maybe you're Mexican or whatever. Maybe you're a black chick who's hot. And they want you to be some kind of worm sleeping with pieces of shit. And then use that networking that you get from sleeping with dogs, these perverted business worms, to kind of help your family get jobs and network, right? Like mental health, all those worms in mental health say. You need a strong support network, man, and some bitch-ass fucking shit. Or they say, hey, you can be some kind of poor person kissing people's ass, being exploited left and right, like a ship lost at sea with no mast, just drifting wherever the water the water takes it, rather. A wanderer. When people prey on you left and right. Those are the 4 options they're given. To them, there's no 5 option. The 5th option is serving God. It's the main option. It's the main thing you should be doing. But people don't see it that way, do they? So they get stuck in a system of rape by deception. Now, when those Indians, those Asians, and whoever else, Africans, whoever else, they come here and they get good grades and they get a fancy job, lawyer, doctor, engineer, software engineer. They tread lightly. The CIA is on their bumper. People like Donald Trump make the questionnaire for when they come here and they apply to come here. And they make it clear to them that they better suck a New World Order dick. And people like my dad, in his own way, says no by being a model for moral precision or something to that effect. Close enough for that me, that I took it all the way through the finish line. And he raises Jesus. They're pissed off. Very pissed off. We're targeting you then. Look, we have phallic symbols. We have obelisks for a reason. We're concerned with sexual control. We're bitches. Okay, just punks. So fuck the Manila model. Fuck being a bookworm who makes a certain amount of money within the boundaries of the devil. Fuck selling drugs. And fuck being a vagrant. You think Jesus should obey you? Fuck you. I'll see you before God Almighty while you're cooking. Not only the answer is no, but you can go to hell. Changing my voice. Not only the answer is no, but you can go to hell. Changing my voice won't help you. When you meet your maker, you're going to be like, I changed his voice though. Like some kind of American bitch? Some kind of Yankee Doodle pussy? That's your plan? You think you're winning? I'm from the 4,700 group, if you will. Because 4,700 rich people and their close family members die every single fucking day. And they find out the hard way that I'm in charge. Not rich bitches. The Son of God. And doing some prank-ass Mason military college frat bitch shit just means you're more of a bitch, not less. You don't understand that? What are you, a fucking dweeb? You don't understand that? Okay, so if you were the Son of God, the heavenly warrior who defeats the beast, and you saw a bunch of psychopaths and corporate cults turning people into psychopaths, and you saw people like the American Pie people who have been turned out by these people, they're losing their mind, they have a kind of psychopath-forged frat response. You see the rockers, like these Simpson characters are modeled after. They're fucked in the head from what's going on. You see people with their heads down, people looking defeated. It's a sad sight. You would be angry, right? You'd want them to stop. And when they engaged you and they persecute you, you would go out like a man. See, I don't have to shoot them or stab them or whatever. I've defeated them where it matters most. They look back at the timeline, they see me trampling them every step of the way. They see that they're afraid to debate me publicly about these things because they know I'm right. Because they know that I'm manning up. They know I've highlighted that they're not manning up. They know that they don't have the heart that I have. They're not as smart as I am. They know that I've won. All victories are in principle. And corporate psychopaths and those who they control are in the spirit of failure. I've been trying to get them to stop failing. A short righteous life is greater than a long conformist life, which is a long wicked life. How much more if you're a corporate psychopath who doesn't have the basic masculinity or manhood to refrain from evil? You psychos will have your day in God's court with me at God's right hand, and you will cook. I have won, you have lost. I've said it politely. I've said it in a way that was designed to inspire a response. I've said it in ways that are very insulting. I've said it every way you can think of. And you have no counter-argument. I said it on TikTok, I said it on Facebook, I said it on YouTube, and other sites as well. I said it in the comments and videos. No viable counterargument. Your ways and your paths have failed you. Your forefathers have led you astray.